In this video, I'm going to show how to do a clean grip job on two fingerboards. One of them is my first fingerboard that is a wooden teak tuning board, and the other is a brand new Tech Deck plastic board. It's actually a newer shape for the Tech Decks. They just came out with this more mellow shape. It doesn't have the lines that some of the newer Tech Decks do. I'm excited to put some foam grip on this and try it out. First thing to do is to take off the Sandpaper grip. I found that pulling the grip in an upwards kind of angle very slowly and wiggling it back and forth is the best way to get the grip off in one piece without leaving any residue. And not only am I going to be upgrading the foam grip, I'm also going to be upgrading the trucks and wheels. I bought this kit online from Soldier Bar, and it comes with a pair of trucks, wheels with bearings in them, and this pack of a bunch of different parts. Got pivot cups, nuts and screws, screwdriver, and then 2 pieces of foam grip. I'll do a full review of the kit on my channel soon. And the screws from the factory on this Tech Deck actually came almost over cranked, and they were pretty hard to get off using the screwdriver that came with the kit. But I ended up using the screwdriver that came with the Tech Deck Pro, and this is a great tool for being able to break loose any really tight screws and also be able to screw in new trucks. If you don't have a tiny screwdriver, you can always get a decent one in an inexpensive eyeglass repair kit that can be picked up either at like a dollar store or even pretty cheap online. The Soldier Bar kit came with a bunch of extra parts, a bunch of pivot cups, screws, and even these nuts with little caps on them. And it even came with 4 sets of black O-ring bushings. For this board, since it's a new mold shape, I didn't want to do any real shaping to the actual board, but I did want to sand off the writing off of the side. The base plates on these trucks come unthreaded, and I always have a bit of a difficulty getting these in the first time. I find that getting one screw in and even just partially threaded, and then pressing the base plate up against the bottom of the deck, and then screwing it back and forth, typically gets it started. And then I come in with another screw, and that first screw doesn't go in all the way, that's okay. I usually come back to it. Same with the second screw. I'll go to the next screw and try and get this one in. And usually by this time, some of them or one of them will have gone in. And I go to the last screw. And this is where getting either a nicer screwdriver or the Tech Deck Pro screwdriver, where you get a little bit more leverage, really comes in handy, just because getting the last little turns is really, really challenging. But I have found that turning the screw back and forth, and sometimes even taking it completely out and putting it back in, also helps if it will not go in. I'm going to be putting the grip over the screw heads, so it's really important that I get the screws fully seated, since I won't have access to them once the grip is installed. I really like the wheels that come with this kit. They're not urethane, but they're a lot nicer than the plastic CNC wheels that I've gotten on other completes. And the wheels, while they don't have a lot of free spin, they're really smooth. To make sure that the tape has a good clean surface to stick to, I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol and clean off the top of the deck. I'm using 91% isopropyl alcohol, but you can use pretty much any percentage and just let it air dry. The next tip for installing the grip is to make sure to only peel off the top part and stick it to either the tail or the nose of the deck. Line it up and then press it firmly down on the nose or tail, and then work into the pocket and make sure to press it down into the pocket and then onto the main part of the deck, and then into the other part of the pockets and then on the nose or tail. And then press firmly all the way over the board and just work around, make sure that there's no air bubbles. My favorite tool for gripping a fingerboard is a round metal file, and I found that going in a directly downwards motion, avoid going with the board, but directly downwards in almost like a 90-degree angle with the deck, and keeping that consistent angle all the way around is the best way to get a clean line. And you can see going directly downwards after doing a few times in the same area starts to peel away the grip. And once you've gone around the whole board enough times, should be able to peel away the excess. I also found that the Tech Deck Pro tool that has a built-in file or grip works great as well, using the same technique, and just directly down until it gets rid of the tape, and then peel away the excess. Once you take off the excess, and for a quick job, you could pretty much just be done here, but I'm going to go ahead and shape the edges of the foam grip a little bit, and this is going to give it a really clean look. using a nail file that came with a teak tuning board, but you can get a nail file from the dollar store or pretty much anywhere pretty inexpensively. Just shaping the edges and keeping a consistent, almost 45 to 90 degree angle. Whatever you decide to go with the angle, just keep it consistent. And last, I use a paper towel with a little bit of rubbing alcohol on the edges to get the excess glue off, as well as to wipe off the top of the grip. This makes for a pretty simple and clean grip job. And I have found that different brands of grip definitely will grip differently and look a little bit better than others. And typically the thinner grip will look a little bit better without doing as much work than the thicker grip. But I really like the way this stuff works. It seems like it's pretty durable and it has a good amount of grip to it. Next, I'm going to regrip my first wooden teak tuning board. I'm going to start by peeling off the old grip. And this grip actually separated from the sticky backing. So this is just the foam part. And peeling this stuff is so satisfying. And it comes with double the satisfaction because I got to actually peel off the tape as well. This stuff's actually kind of a pain to get off. But I was able to get off in almost one piece. And any of the leftover sticky residue, I'm just going to get off with some rubbing alcohol. Now that I've got a clean surface to work with, I'm going to apply the grip tape. And for this one, I'm going to do a grip line directly down the side of the board. Approximately where I want my grip line, I'm going to cut out, giving a little bit of excess, about 1 millimeter extra, just so there's a little bit overhang on the side of the board so I can actually grip it. And I'm going to actually use the edge that is from the factory rather than the side that I cut. That way it gives a super straight line. I peel back just the top part and stick it to the nose or the tail. Once it's on the nose or tail where I want it, I'm going to peel back the rest of the backing. And I'm using the screws to align where I want it, and I'm just pressing down from the one part of the screws to the next part of the screws. Once I have it in place, pressing down, press it into the pocket, and then onto the rest of the tail or nose. And by pressing it into the pockets first and then on the nose or tail, it'll help avoid the tape from peeling up over time. And I'm going to follow the same process on the other piece of tape, using the straight edge from the factory on the side facing the grip line as well. And this will give a super straight line. Once I've got the width of the grip line where I want it, I'm going to peel back the rest of the backing tape and make sure that it stays aligned to the grip line. And just peel it all the way back, and then press everything down. Make sure to get rid of any air bubbles. And I make sure to press all the grip down and then come around with the metal file. And I'm going to follow the same process of just going directly down on all of the edges that I did on the other board. And this is grip tape that I got from Amazon. I've used it a few times. It works pretty well overall, but it does have a really thick tape that is on the bottom. And it takes an extra few times to go through the actual tape. The foam grip goes through pretty quick, but it takes 3 or 4 extra times, and you can kind of hear when you get through it. This grip tape is one of the more challenging ones to get a clean grip job on, just because it is also a little bit thicker. And you definitely don't need an X-Acto or hobby blade to clean it up, but I do like to use a hobby blade on this and also clean up the edges since it is a little bit thicker foam. I do this coming in at almost like a 45 to 90 degree angle, somewhere in the middle, and I just go in a downwards, kind of like angled downwards motion forwards. And I do this consistently all the way around the board until all the edges are consistent. If you're not old enough to use a knife or a hobby blade, definitely ask for assistance. And you can always get the same or almost the same results using a nail file. So there's really no need for an X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to clean it up using a sticker. You can use some Scotch tape or some clear tape just to clean up any stuff that gets on the actual grip from the grip job. Overall, I think having a thin grip line like this looks pretty clean. Next time if I do this, I might go a little bit thinner. But overall, I like the way this feels, and it just has enough little bit of an edge to kind of give it a little bit of kind of feel of where I am on the board. And for now, I'm going to leave the screw holes covered, but in a future video, I will show how to add screw holes after the fact. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as check out my other Tech Deck upgrade videos and other fingerboard content. Make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications, and my next video coming up on the channel will be how to do a design on the grip job. Until next time, peace.